do you like about these early starts? Do you feel like you can get your full routine into these mornings?
I love it. I love it. You don't have to wait all day to get started. I think for a coach, that's just, when you wait all day to get, to a 7:30 game, it's just a lot that can go through your head.
I know you might have answered this yesterday, but I was a little late. When you talked to Christie about her making the Olympic team, what was kind of her reaction? How did she feel? And how did you feel knowing that happened for her?
Yeah, so proud of her, just a dream come true. And, I think for me, just hearing her tell the story about how she told her parents and how they were so excited. I mean, we were both crying. It was awesome.
Chloe?
Yeah, just yesterday, Melissa was in a gray jersey, Lexi was in a blue jersey. Do you anticipate kind of making a change to the starting lineup today?
We're just going to play with what we need right now.
Pat? Thank you, sir.
Last 10 or so, excuse me, there's been some notable defensive improvement. Where specifically are you noticing a step forward there, and what do you feel like has led to that?
I think just having the opportunity, I always say when you have an opportunity to practice, we have a great group of practice guys that show up every day for us that really help us mimic some things and get some things done that we need to do because they can play at a high level. These are college guys and guys that go overseas and play. But just the reps, able to rep defense and then just to put more of an emphasis on it. That's just really helped us in this last month.
Kareem?
Speaking of defense, a couple keys against the Mystics considering, they're a team that likes to move the ball, spread it around a lot.
Yeah, well, we have to take care of the ball. I think they're like 4th or 5th in points off turnovers. So we've got to make sure we take care of the ball. Got to make sure we find their shooters. They can get really hot. They've got some great shooters around the perimeter there. So, and then also Dawson is shooting the ball so well. So just have to make sure we find her in transition and also, in ball screens.
Don?
The last time you played Washington here, they threw out, especially in the first half, some sort of zone, kind of like a matchup zone. Just what were you seeing there when you look back at that game, and how do you kind of exploit that?
Yeah, they do that a good bit. They'll throw just different things out there to change it up a little bit. They'll play a box and one. They showed a little box and one on Caitlin and on Kelsey. And then 2-3 zone, both on sidelines and baseline out of bounds. So just to get a change, maybe still a possession.
Stay in the back, Lou, then Bob.
Today's Kids Day. So yeah, you get a lot of kids anyway, it seems like. But you feel like this is a good proselytizing mission these days to sort of introduce little kids to your team, the game, and everything that can pay dividends in the future?
I 100% agree with that. I read things all the time that talk about how I'm from Louisiana, and just the numbers of players that are, schools that aren't even able to have a team because they don't have enough players to have a 5-man roster, to play a game. So I think just getting, young people into these arenas, seeing the excitement, what it can be, it just shows like what, maybe one day I can play, for the Fever or for the Mercury or whoever, and to have that opportunity. So just us being on TV more has really increased that as well. Just, people seeing us more. It just helps out with everything. And I think that just creates a buzz and a want to for these young kids. I think it's awesome.
Christie, what are 2 or 3 keys that you've seen that have helped your team get the train back on the tracks, aside from the fact that your schedule early was, as we said before, inhumane?
Inhumane, I love that one. I think just time together, that's number one. I think time together on the practice court, building chemistry, especially offensively. You bring in a new point guard who has the ball in her hands, a huge percentage of the time, and then just, the timing with ball screens, the timing with pin downs, the timing with staggers, the understanding of playing inside out, how that just makes, everything open on the outside when like Aaliyah or Melissa is able to draw so much attention, and then Kelsey drawing so much attention, and Caitlin. So, I think just for me, those 2 things, just time. I think that's the most important thing. The expectations have been so high for us, and we needed those building blocks that you can't skip steps.
What are some of the things that you feel like you've done? Because I have to tell you, early in the season when you guys would lose, it was just brutal on social media. I mean, you caught a lot of strays. What are some of the things that you feel like you've done well to help, again, get the train back on the tracks?
I think just as the leader of this team, making sure I create an environment where they keep, excited about showing up and getting better and just keep preaching process. These guys, yeah, I mean, I don't get on the social media very much. I don't know if we'd be sitting here today had I read all that earlier. I mean, I was told, but these guys are getting it too. The players are getting it. If they don't think they've played a good game, they feel like, oh, I'm going to get killed. And I just can't even wrap my head around that because that's just not the world I'm from. These guys are, and so this is what they are. This is what they're used to. But you try to tell them to, quiet the noise or just tune out the noise. But this is the world we live in today. This is what they've grown up in.
Matt, got one more?
Yeah, hi Christie. Kelsey's been shooting the three ball well as of late. She said some pretty powerful words yesterday about the culture that's being built here. What have you seen from her leadership in the past 10 games? You guys are 6-3 in that span.
Yeah, Kelsey Mitchell's just an ultimate pro. I mean, there is no question that she's going to show up whatever time we practice and give it everything she has. It's no question that she's going to show up every game and do whatever we need for us to win. She's not the most vocal leader. She leads by example more. She's doing a great job. This year we challenged her a little bit, but that's the one thing about Kelsey Mitchell. She is just the ultimate pro, and she wants to win in the worst way. She hasn't experienced that here in her career, and so for her, it's consistency and just holding everyone accountable, and that's what she's part of that, and she's always wanting to, what can I do better and what can we do better? And I'm just really proud of how she's been played this year and last year. I mean, both.
And being one of these kids out here who are introducing themselves to the sport.
Yeah, honestly, as long as I can remember, I loved being around the game of basketball. I had an older brother, so I always wanted to do what he did, and he played basketball, so I would always ask my dad if I could go to his basketball practices. I grew up in Des Moines, so Drake University is the school there, so those are the games that I always went to growing up. I remember going on their kids' games. I would go to them. But yeah, as long as I can remember, honestly, I just loved being around the game.
Caitlin, I wonder with Christie, early in the season, she took so much grief every time you guys lost. Now the train is back on the tracks. What are some of the things that she has done to help get things turned around here in Indiana?
Yeah, I think the thing that she really prides herself in is our culture. She's great at building a team that, every single person is valued. We're going to support one another through everything. And she's been able to stay positive. Obviously, it was a tough start to the year, going 1-8. For everybody, not just her. It's, that can be deflating for the whole organization, especially with the schedule that we were playing at the time. But I think everybody just continued to believe. We got better. She pushed us to get better every single day. She brought the same energy to practice every single day when maybe that could be hard at times. But I think she always had confidence in us, and we always had confidence in her. And now we're starting to get things rolling a little bit better, but I think it's just continuing to get better every single game. You can't beat the Liberty and then come out here and take a step backwards. This is a very important game for us to continue to build on.
Kyle?
Christie talked about how you guys have turned it around. A big part of it has to do with chemistry. I know yesterday you talked about kind of how your friendship with a lot of people on the team has grown. How do you feel like you have grown into being a member of the team and kind of the larger family aspect, if you will?
Yeah, I think it just takes time to get to know people. That's just how it is, whether you're starting a new job, whether, it's me here joining this organization, that's just what it's gonna take. It's just gonna take time to build those relationships, and that's usually one of the most important things about being on a team is having relationships with your teammates and knowing that you can trust them and knowing that you're always gonna have their back no matter what, and everything, comes from a positive place, especially when you're in the heat of battle. I think that's really important. So I think just time of, getting to know one another better has been the most important thing for us.
And then obviously, I don't know if you saw it, but there's been some clips going around of DT kind of giving you your flowers and other veterans around the league doing that. Have you had conversations with those veterans around the league, or just hearing that, even if you haven't had conversations, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think, every time I go step on the court, like, they've always been very positive, and like, before the game, you shake hands, or they give me a hug and welcome me to the league, and I think they've just been very positive and supportive in that way, and, that's awesome as a rookie to be able to have that.
Go Zion, then Kareem.
Caitlin, with it being a camp day, all the kids that are gonna be here, just what has it been like even leading up to this day, all the kids you've seen in the games and all the interactions you've had with those younger fans of the game?
Yeah, it's a fun day. Obviously, it's an early tip on a Wednesday. It's kind of weird, but it makes for a special memory for them. Like, this is, hopefully something that they can remember for the rest of their lives, whether they love basketball or not. It's something that they get to share with their friends, and get to do something that maybe they don't usually get to do. Like, I think that's a really fun, cool opportunity. So I know if I was a young kid and we got to do this in the middle of summer, I would be pretty ecstatic. So it'll be fun for not only them, but us too.
Go Kareem, then we'll go back in the front row to Mike.
Okay, quick one on Washington, as you prepare for them, as particularly defensively, what kind of stood out to you about what they do, and what did you learn from the way they kind of approached you last game?
Yeah, I think they're very improved. This isn't a team that like you can take lightly. Like, they're really good in what they do, and obviously they've kind of had the injury bug, which they haven't used as an excuse, but they've still shown up and been really good every single time they've taken the floor. But I think it's their physicality, and I think also they're going to throw multiple different defenders at me. I think that's what they've done in the prior two matchups. Like, I haven't just seen one person the entire game. They're going to rotate people onto me. So I think that's going to be probably the biggest thing, is like knowing what each defender is going to try to take away and then trying to execute from there.
Last two to finish up, Mike and Tony.
Hi, Gabe. I'm kind of late to the party here, so I apologize if this has been asked 100 times already, but when did you sign your first autograph? And does that ever get tiring?
It never gets tiring. I don't think that's anything that you ever take for granted. I think like the first autograph I signed that somebody like actually wanted my autograph, not me practicing my autograph, was like in high school, probably a couple in high school. But then in college, that's probably when it started to actually like pick up.
Last one, Tony.
Rookies always talk about, the players being bigger, the speed of the game being faster when it gets to the pros. I'm curious for you how that adjustment has looked, and specifically what you thought of your defensive progress within all that this season.
Yeah, I think definitely the physicality. Sometimes I get a little bodied in there and there's not much you can do because they're just bigger than me. So I think just trying to hold my ground as much as I can. I think defensive schemes are different than they are in college, so that's just kind of a learning curve for myself. But I feel like I've improved a good amount. It's just breaking little habits that I had in college that like just aren't similar to what you do in the WNBA. So I think it's just the little habit things, but definitely seeing some growth, but still a lot of areas to grow. And that's something I go back and watch the most after games, honestly, is the defensive side of the ball and where I can get better.
Kids make a lot of signs for you. Do you have the most memorable sign you've ever seen somebody make?
Gosh, most memorable sign. That's tough.
There's the Canada one when we were in.
Yeah, the signs were like they're really from like really far places. I think those are cool. Like seeing how far people travel to come in and support our team is really special.